Welcome to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling. You are about to discover impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you, so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Be sure you visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now tune in, get ready, and enjoy the journey of emerging as a leader of exception in the 21st century.
Welcome, everyone, to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast. I'm your host, Vicki Noethling, coming to you from Roswell, Georgia. The goal of this podcast is to bring topics and guests that will empower you to become that confident leader and take your business and your life to the next level. Today, I am very excited to have as my guest Brittni Cosgrove. And let me tell you about Brittni. Brittni is a transformational life and business coach, and she helps ambitious souls become their most magnetic, authentic, and confident self so they can create a bigger impact doing what they love. Whether you're scaling your business or starting a nonprofit or deepening your relationship, Brittni is going to help you overcome subconscious set points and master your mindset so you can stop self-sabotaging and see the results you crave. Brittni is a certified master coach, breathwork facilitator, and speaker. And additionally, she sits on the board of the nonprofit Travel Through Trauma and is the organization's resident life coach. Brittni uses her voice to help humanity break free from self-imposed limitations, sheer glass ceilings, leap into the unknown, and collectively up-level to shift the world into one of more passion, purpose, and peace. So today we are going to talk about overcoming subconscious limitations and self-sabotage. Please join me in welcoming my guest, Brittni Cosgrove. Brittni, such a great topic to talk about today. I think it's somewhat more since COVID as a topic that really I think we became more self-aware, which in some ways is good, but not always having the solutions that's where people like you can come in handy and help.
Absolutely. Vicki, thank you so much for having me today. And yes, I completely agree. With the up-leveling of people's awareness comes a huge push for knowing what we need to do, knowing what we want to do, knowing the steps to take. And yet there's still blocks that are keeping people stuck. And that's why I love working in the subconscious and helping people rewire their subconscious, because it really is pushing your set points further and further so that you can actually move in the direction you want to be moving and actually get the traction from the steps you're taking.
So there's a few things that I can unpack in that, but first let's just ask my two first easy questions I always ask my guest, and that is to just share with everybody, where do you call home? Where do you currently live?
So I'm currently up in the Pacific Northwest near Bellingham, Washington.
Yeah.
Over the last couple of years, though, I have called home Key West and Los Angeles. So I pop around a little bit.
All places I love. Oh my goodness. And 3 different climates, really.
Very much so.
So we talked about, what you're doing today and who you're associated with, but I always like for the guests to share a little bit about their journey that really was taking them from, what they were doing to where they are now. How many paths did you go on that took a little turn in your journey from where you thought you were going to be to where you are today?
Ooh, the path has been twisty and turning. There's this saying, my mom actually got it on a magnet for me. It says, "We plan, God laughs." And that has been my
That's right.
story. Growing up, I was very career oriented since I was little, but I also really struggled with mental health and severe anxiety. And that really catapulted me into this journey of perfectionism and ambition and just having a lot of momentum without having a really good direction to put it towards. So at
Hmm.
different points along my path, I was going to be a lawyer and a teacher. And when I got to college, I studied mathematics and statistics and went from teaching into corporate and was heading towards data analysis and in that direction. And then when COVID hit, I actually, just like everyone else, was for the first time in most of my life at a complete pause where
Yeah.
everything was still and everything was quiet. I was coming out of being a sales manager for an art gallery. So that was another direction I had
Oh
gone
my
in.
gosh.
And when I tell you, it was a diverse, twisty path. And
Yes.
when everything shut down, I had that moment of pause, and it was so divinely needed for me because
Yeah.
like I said, I had this momentum, I had this drive, but the directions were not leading where I wanted to go. And I was just continuously put in positions where I didn't have autonomy of my schedule and what I wanted to create. And
Mm.
it was hitting up against systems that were not aligned with my values. And so during that pause, I actually started my first online business. And this was my first taste personally with entrepreneurship. And when I finally felt this power and creativity and actually getting to put all of this momentum towards something for me that I
Yeah.
was proud of, that I was aligned with, it was so eye-opening. And now, again, that direction was not the end all be all, but it was the final turn that got me onto what I'll call the highway I'm on now, which has been bridging coaching and adventure and bringing in levels of healing and travel. And it's kind of a big conglomeration of really just helping people live their best life, falling in love with life. And I lead by example. What I have found is by doing my own inner work, I can heal the anxiety and the perfectionism and these other components that kept me stuck for so long, that kept me at those set points. And
Yeah.
as I heal them, I also find that any direction feels amazing. And that's kind of what I help people with now is both figuring out what is the actual direction you want to go in. And if it's multiple directions, how do they
Yeah.
bridge together? How does it all work together so that it's on your terms? And I very much believe it does start with that pause, following by that willingness to look inward first and then outward.
Yeah. I think that I always say that for me, COVID was like a blessing in some ways that, God, whoever you call God, but someone up there said, y'all are just too crazy busy. You need to stop. And we wouldn't have stopped. We would not
Mhm.
have stopped. And I think it saved people's lives. Yes, it got rid of several people, sadly, but I think it saved a whole lot of people. I love that you talked about being stuck in that perfectionist piece. I always say perfection is boring and, and unachievable. And I think really in our education system, if they would, we always try to strive for that 100%, that perfect. But if you're freaking out at tests and you can't achieve that 100%, then your self-worth kind of is diminished. Does that, that's not what we as educators should want. We really need to understand that, did you do your best? And
Yeah.
and instill that doing your best. And for some people they might try to skate by, but they'd skate by anyway. Even if it was the trying to achieve the 100%. So I think a lot of things that you said in this early portion are really important to remember. um and um and to take risk. I mean, to go from data analysis to a art gallery type of thing, that's a risk. That's a risk. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure there were people all around you that are in their best interest for you. Were trying to tell you, what the heck are you doing? You should not do that. You should stay safe in this, corporate environment. But were you happy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sometimes we forget to
Absolutely.
ask that. Are you happy?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you help people become their most magnetic, authentic, and confident self. So how do you define these qualities and why are they crucial for success?
Oh, beautiful question. Yeah, so I really feel that that intersection of magnetism and authenticity and confidence, it comes together when you feel so in tune with who you truly are, when you
Mm,
honor who you truly are, and when you find a way to genuinely love who you are. And when I say especially that last part, self-love is such a buzzword these days.
yeah.
And it's not as simple as just deciding to love yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can allow that component, so when I'm starting to work with someone and they have these blocks that come up, whether it's the anxiety or different components that really frustrate them, that they have a really hard time loving about themselves, or maybe it's a past experience, I first start with just normalizing that. Can it be okay that there's resistance in the loving yourself? It's accepting the whole package, accepting
Mm-hmm.
even the parts that we don't want to accept, accepting that we don't want to accept those parts. It's kind of that
Yeah.
paradox, but it's if we can step back and it just starts one little piece at a time. It's not an overnight
No.
change. It's something that builds over time. I mean, I'm years in on this journey and still finding parts of me that I push away or resist. And it's never a done thing. But that's kind of the beauty of it, is it gets to be this relationship with yourself. And the more that it comes from that place of genuineness, you're not trying to force self-love or self-acceptance. You're not trying to feel it because you know you're supposed to. It just comes with the slow and genuine acceptance of what is, that it slowly starts morphing into a really holistic, comprehensive feeling that we as humans are so immensely complex and have
Yeah.
so many components, and we are so multifaceted, and there's so much that goes within us. And it's like if we can just start with that and accept that we are complex, then it's like we can work on each little part as it comes. So there's going to be
Mm,
parts of ourselves that are easy to feel that love and acceptance for, that we can easily feel confident in. But then even the parts of ourselves that are not easy for us to open up to, again, it's just coming back to that willingness to accept that it's hard to love these parts.
yeah.
And then as we keep building that, the confidence, it comes naturally. And it comes from that genuine, authentic confidence,
Yeah.
not anything egotistical or fake it till you make it. It's just that you genuinely feel so light and whole within that it just naturally radiates from there.
Mhm. Yeah, I think, you know, when you realize that you aren't and don't have to be perfect, and you just are comfortable in your skin, I think that's when the most confidence is. That, when you walk in a room and you're not worried about what anybody else thinks, you just want to have a great meal or revel in meeting new people, and that's enough. But I think if we go in there and we just have this agenda where, I want to get this promotion, or I want to make this big impression, or I want to whatever, then all of a sudden we have all these things going on in our heads that are blocking us from truly enjoying life.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really does come down to that expectation or trying to control of the
Yeah.
situation. Because, yeah, when you walk into that room and are already so focused on things that are outside of your control, then it's you're
Yeah.
outsourcing that power to those people, the situation, anything that it is. But like you
Mm.
said, when it really comes from that inner state of just this is how it is, this is who I am,
Yeah.
then it doesn't even matter what others think, how others perceive you, because the reality is that people are going to have their judgments, they're going to have their thoughts,
Yes.
they're going to have their projections, and they get to keep all of that because it never ever means anything about you at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And then the more we embody that, the more it just gets to be our natural way of being.
So you talked about anxiety and subconscious, and the subconscious is so powerful. If not kept in check, if you will, or understood, I mean, it could destroy your health. It can really make you miserable and all these things. So, what are some of the common subconscious set points or limiting beliefs that you've observed in your clients, and how do you help them overcome and maybe first manage, identify, deal with before overcome these obstacles?
Yeah. So, what I have found is that the vast majority of humanity's wounds and fears and limiting beliefs really come down to a small handful of deep limitations that we're creating that are in the subconscious level. And those are almost always around worth. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy
Mm,
enough, or protection, trying to protect us to keep us accepted, to make sure that kind of stems back to the amygdala, which is a part of the brain that was
mhm.
developed ages ago, where that at that time, if you were kicked out of the tribe, if you were on your own, if you were rejected, it was a survival situation.
Yeah.
Nowadays, that's not real, but our brain is still kind of wired that way so that it
Mhm.
still connects being rejected with an attack against survival and against our safety. So, really, those are the two core universal wounds at the subconscious level. Now, to help people really start finding, like, what is this subconscious belief that's keeping me stuck? What is it that's feeding the anxiety or the procrastination, the whatever the external blocks are? And that really comes down to finding out, how is that block trying to help you? So
Mhm.
I can use perfectionism because that's something that it was fueling my anxiety. I have a very intimate relationship with perfectionism. And what I found when I started diving into it is that that perfectionist, that part of me that wanted everything to be good enough, everything to be perfect, it had this belief that, well, if I make sure everything's perfect, then that means no one else will be able to criticize it. And if
Ah,
no one else can criticize it, then they can't criticize me. And therefore, I am good enough.
mm,
And once it's, and this, like I said, it's universal with anyone that's listening right now. Just take a block and slowing it down. Ask yourself, how is blank trying to help me? How is procrastination trying to help me? How is whatever it is for you? Find out what it's trying to do for you. And if it doesn't come naturally, just slow it down and really listen. The subconscious is loud in the silence. So you have to give it that space. And once you see how what it wants for you, what that desire is for you, then you can start pivoting it into a more compassionate awareness of this block. So with my perfectionism example, so the perfectionist wants me to be good enough. Well, I can see that no matter what my work is, that's unrelated to my worth. But I can now see with compassion how that perfectionist is wanting to help, what it wants to do.
mhm,
And I kind of compare blocks to like toddlers. All the,
mhm.
the perfectionists, etc., they all want to help, they all want to be good, but they don't know the best way to do so. They don't have all the information. They don't have a fully developed mind. They're trying to help,
Yes.
but they're not effective. But when you have
That's true.
compassion for it, you can just see like, oh, perfectionist, thank you for wanting me to do my best. Thank you for wanting to keep me safe from rejection. Thank you for wanting to make sure I feel good enough. I've got it from here, but thank you for trying to help. And you
Mhm.
start detaching from the block because it's not personal. It's not part of your identity. It's just something that's come up in your human experience. And with that detachment, bringing that compassionate awareness to it, and that's where it all starts to transform.
Mm.
So, like you said, it's not like it's just you overcome it from there, but this is how you start walking over the block, walking through the
Mhm.
block, maybe. These blocks, they are not in the way, they are the way. But it stems with that
Ah,
compassionate awareness first.
they're not in the way, they are the way. That's awesome. So, how does your work as a breathwork facilitator complement your coaching practice?
Oh, breath work is just one of the
Mm,
most powerful, magical tools
mm.
out there.
Yeah.
And it works hand in hand with the subconscious, which I love. That
Mhm.
was just kind of a coincidence. You can see where my heart is called in this work. But with breath work, it really is accessing the subconscious through the body and bypassing the mind and bypassing the stories. And it's funny. I had such a journey getting started with it because I had to find that trust in it and find that safety in it. Because if you've never done breath work, your first experience is or could be intense. It is different than anything I've ever
Yeah, it is.
experienced.
Mhm.
But the way that it opens up the mind, and like I said, it kind of bypasses the mind. So you're bypassing the stories and the thoughts and the narrative that we hear in our day to day. And we're just immediately accessing that next layer. So the insights that come through, the visuals that come through, or even just the release of emotions and feelings, it's all so powerful and just so expansive. And I
Mhm.
find it to be a really great tool for both calling in and releasing. So when I want to do a release, it's really about letting go of any stuck energy, creating an opening to move that energy and creating spaciousness for new energy.
Mm.
When I want to call in, I set the intention beforehand. And this might look like, what do I want this next chapter of my business to look like? Or if it's around relationships, I've helped people, what does that relationship, the ideal, healthy version of the relationship they're looking
Mhm.
for, what does that look like? And who
Yeah.
do they need to be to match that relationship? Insights like that can all come through from breath work because we're getting out of the mind and into the body,
Yeah.
into the subconscious, where I genuinely believe that any answers we need are already within us. Sometimes the mind just gets a little chatty, and this is a great way to find those answers when the mind is chatty.
Very true. So you have, as I mentioned, you work with a nonprofit, Travel Through Trauma. And I've interviewed quite a lot of people that talk about trauma. So how does this work inform your coaching and vice versa?
Yeah. So travel and trauma and coaching, I have found that this intersection is just one of my juicy spots because I think that there is so much power both in coaching and in
Yeah.
travel. And the way that I've healed my own trauma and have helped people work through theirs, and now with this nonprofit, we are bringing in clients, cause or yeah, customers or just young adults who are looking to really work through that next level of trauma. And I do want to be clear, like I am not a therapist. I do not diagnose. The nonprofit itself, we have licensed therapists on our team as well, on the board as well, so that there is that difference of what's
Mhm.
within scope, what's without a scope. However, the whole focus being utilizing travel and utilizing getting out of your comfort zone,
Mhm.
connecting with your inner self,
Yeah.
letting go of the narratives of what we should be doing, what life should look like, letting go of all of those shoulds, letting go of all the stories that everyone else says that we should be doing, what it should look like, finding what's true for them and then building that confidence, again, that genuine, authentic confidence to go forward into the unknown, to trust yourself above all else. A lot of times when people have trauma in their past experiences, that trust in themselves, it got lost at some point. And a huge component is rebuilding that. And that comes with looking within, meeting yourself within, learning that, reframing the things of what success means, reframing what failure means, and then finding these different components like the compassionate awareness with blocks so that we can start helping people just bridge where they are and where they've been to where they want to go, but in a way that's really meeting everyone where they're at. And then I just am such an advocate for travel. I think getting out of your comfort zone is the number one thing anyone could do for themselves. I try to do it for myself every single day. And then, I can't be traveling every single day, but travel is just a really, really great way to push yourself.
I agree. So, in your experience, what's the relationship between personal growth and business success, and how do you help clients balance between these two aspects?
In my experience, personal growth and business growth are one of the same because how we do one thing is how we do all things. And really, everywhere we look is a mirror. And so when I help someone, because this happens a lot, people will come to me for business related things. I work with a lot of small business owners and entrepreneurs because that's my most recent background. I have such a heart for just people doing what they love. And when these people come to me, they haven't found the ways to grow their own set points, to regulate their nervous system, and to get both their subconscious but also conscious all on board with the direction they want to go. And especially when things like money are involved, those are really connected to people's sense of safety and security and worth. And so that can really, the narrations that come with it can really skew the directions that they're trying to go, or they get into a lot of comparison-itis, things like that. So as people come to me with business related work, it almost always, if not always, I would almost say it's always stemming back to somewhere in their own personal life or life experiences, their own personal subconscious. And it's getting projected onto their business. So I was working with another coach who was trying to create more clients. And when we were stemming into why she was having a hard time converting, it was related to an experience she had when she was, I think, a preteen about not making it onto the swim team. So those two stories are completely unrelated in our conscious mind and in the real world experience. However, what she had learned, the subconscious runs it all because she had created this sense of failure in if I do what I want, I'm going to fail. And that deep subconscious belief that was created when she was 12 or 13 was now getting projected onto her business because she loved what she was doing. But there was always that feeling like, well, when is the other shoe going to drop? When is someone going to take it away from me? When is someone going to say, I didn't make it, go back to what you were doing before? And as soon as she saw that connection, tears. And it was this complete eye-opening new level of awareness for her so that she can see, oh my goodness, like it's okay to feel scared. It's okay to be, have this fear of failing. But if I am giving it my all and if I am doing what I'm loving, can I even fail? And her truth was no, she cannot fail if she's doing what she loves and if she's giving it her all. And so that's just one great example of how the subconscious really is just so powerful and so varied in what it latches onto and what it makes meaning out of. But it really is, like I said, how we do one thing is how we do all things.
So your bio mentioned using your voice to help humanity break free from self-imposed limitations. So share a successful story, if you can, of a client who made a significant breakthrough and it helped them not only impact their business, but also their life.
Yes. I had a young girl. She was maybe in her early 20s. She had just graduated from university and she was starting her own cosmetology business and she was kind of going out on her own. She came to me originally because she just didn't feel confident and she just wanted to feel better, wanted to feel more confident. She had she had a plan for what she thought she was going to do with her business, so that was kind of on the back burner. She just wanted to feel better about who she
Mhm.
was. And as we started diving into this work and where her lack of confidence was stemming from, we just found this deep, deep core wound around her self-worth.
Yeah.
And when it came down to it, it didn't matter to that part of her what she was doing with her career, that she was out of school, that she had finally graduated, all those things. It was still very attached to life is really hard. Everything's really hard. I can't do it.
Mm.
And she was finding that when she was starting to, focus on her business, she was having a hard time bringing in the money and the clients and had a very hard time speaking about what she was doing. That was kind of the outer point that we started working with, is that she did not feel comfortable sharing what she did, and definitely not sharing it confidently.
Mm.
So as we kind of dove into this wound around her worth, and that was stemmed from a lot of things that she had experienced from her childhood with her parents.
Yeah.
Both of her parents were business owners as well, and she it it was not as successful as it could have been for them. And she really made that mean to be life is really hard. Owning a business is really hard. Making money is really hard. And there was a lot of stories around this is basically going to be an uphill battle for the rest of my life.
Mm.
And
Wow.
as we started building up her worth in that genuine way where she was just loving on herself, we did a lot of inner child work, really just focused on what it means to be whole, to be inherently worthy, to embody that. She started naturally feeling comfortable and starting conversations with potential clients, people that she was meeting. She would just, compliment people's hair, just really getting into that energy of
Mhm.
just that love and vibrancy, because she was just feeling so much. I don't what would the word be? Just so much fullness and wholeness within.
Mhm.
And that just radiated out, and it was almost like the teapot when the kettle goes off. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
there's so much in here and it just has to be let out, and it was
Mhm.
just pouring left and right. And literally within a month or two after we stopped working together and she started embodying this, she had a wait list of clients that were a few months
Wow.
out. It was incredible to watch her take this business from a few friends that were coming to see her to having a wait list. And from there, she moved into her own hair studio. She never went back to working for another salon. She is now, we talk a little bit now, she's toying with doing like a traveling business where she
Wow.
starts teaching and educating other young hairstylists on what their business could be. It's just really beautiful to see how someone could take what seemed like just a normal basic outline, and now who knows where she's going to take it moving
Yeah.
forward. It's just beautiful to see that, yeah, that overflow come from it.
Fantastic. Well, time has flown by. We could chat for another hour, but for those that are just listening, you know the drill. You should go and run and grab a paper and a pencil so you can get the contact information for Brittni. So for those just listening, the website is BrittniCosgrove.com. So Brittni is Brittni. Cosgrove is Cosgrove. So BrittniCosgrove.com. Instagram is also Brittni.Cosgrove with a bunch of other things here. But if you just search Brittni with that Brittni Cosgrove, you'll be able to find her. I'm going to turn it over to Brittni. She's going to tell you a little bit about our call to action today, as well as things that you can find on her website, and also how often she's out there on Instagram so you can DM her. Brittni, it's all yours.
Yes. come say hi. Come find me on Instagram. Come say hi on my website, whatever feels good to you. On my website, you can see all upcoming events, workshops. I offer 1 to 2 free workshops every quarter that are genuinely focused on either cultivating some type of inner peace, inner power, that inner work, or it's more strategy focused. Maybe I
Mhm.
do one of both. It just kind of depends on the quarter, what I'm feeling. It's very intuitive, but there's always something in the works. And then on
Awesome.
Instagram, I share about just different things that you can do to help cultivate your own personal power, to feel more confident, things that are very actionable, things that you can do starting now, starting today. I'm a big fan of immediate action and rewarding that. So if you want to come say hi, I would love to chat. I'd love to support you. And I will always be there to believe in your vision no matter what.
Fantastic. Well, Brittni, as we said in the beginning, I knew it was going to be a great interview. So happy that you shared all of your insights, your great advice, and experiences, client successes. Thanks so much for being a great guest.
Thank you so much for having me, Vicki. This has been wonderful.
You are very welcome. As always, I remind everyone that life is a journey, and it's up to you to enjoy the ride. This is Vicki Noethling signing off.
Thank you for tuning into the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling, where we share impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Remember to visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast.